Hey, welcome back, you guys. This is Andrea from Mrs. to Ms., your favorite place for the real, the raw, the ridiculous parts of love, dating, and everything in between. That's what I'm going to say. I'm Andrea. I'm your host, and today we're going to stir the pot with, some extra little spicy, I don't know, relationship hot takes. Okay, so these are the opinions that might make you go, wait, do I agree with that? I mean, they're okay, some are bold. They might be a little triggering, but I think they'd be fun to talk about. So I also asked my amazing listeners, you guys, to kind of weigh in on some of these hot takes. And oh my goodness, you guys, you did not disappoint. Okay, so let's get into it. So my first hot take is you should go to bed angry sometimes. What do you guys think on that? So classic advice says that you should never go to bed angry. But I don't know. What if that's terrible advice, right? So hear me out. Okay. So you're trying to force a resolution when you're tired, you're emotional, you're running on empty, and that can obviously make things a little bit worse, right? So sometimes the healthiest thing you can do, in my opinion, is maybe to pause, go to sleep, and come back to the issue with like a clear mind the next day. Okay, so I kind of put this out there about should you go to bed angry or not. And I had one listener write in. So this is Rachel from Atlanta. And she said, my boyfriend and I had a blowout over something that was so dumb. It was about dishes, but really it was about deeper stuff. So she said, I insisted we talked it out that night. It spiraled. I ended up saying something I totally didn't mean. We both cried. We slept horribly, and it took us days to recover. Now we have a rule. If we hit a wall, we pause, we sleep, and we revisit the next day. Game changer. So that's what she said. So she does not agree that you should ever go to bed angry. She thinks that you need to sort it out. Okay. So now listener number 2, Jay from LA said, nope, hard pass. I went to bed angry with my ex so many times. We'd both silently stew, and it built up so much resentment. For me, at least a little closure before sleep is better, even if we agree to fully fix it later. So that is a totally different opinion, right? Who is right on that? Well, personally, I say it depends on the couple and the conflict, but don't let these therapists and TikTok shame you into thinking every fight needs a midnight summit, because that's not always what you need. Sometimes your peace is more important than your closure, right? So we want to really think about that, because it does depend on what the topic is. If it's something very trivial, it's not going to make or break your relationship. It's not something, maybe you're just kind of in disagreement about what you want to do for a certain party, or where you want to go eat with friends this coming weekend. And maybe it caused a little bit of controversy, a little bit of fight, but it's not necessarily like you guys are going to break up and your relationship is done with this. So can you go to bed and maybe go to bed in disagreement? Yeah, I think you can, as long as you talk about that and kind of go, you know what, guys, let's just take a moment and let's revisit this tomorrow. Or you can go, hey, we're still angry tonight. I don't think we need to resolve this tonight. So let's just go to sleep. We'll sleep on it. Maybe we'll have a better outlook or a different decision tomorrow. So I think that's totally okay to do. Okay, moving on to my second hot take is I'm going to say, if they're not obsessed with you, is it not real? Okay, so me personally, I don't like to say that I like a man to be obsessed with me. Do I like attention from a man? Absolutely. I'm a Leo. That's what I like. I like to be the center of attention. But you know what? That does sound a little bit dramatic, that if they're not totally obsessed with you, then this is definitely not a real relationship. Okay, so let's dissect this. So there's a difference between healthy devotion and codependence. But let's be honest, many of us have settled for, lukewarm feelings that are more like being tolerated than they are actually being adored. Right. So I had this one girl write in. This is Mia from Toronto. And she said, I used to chase emotionally unavailable guys. When I finally decided to date someone who was obsessed with me in a healthy, supportive way, I was so uncomfortable, but he made me feel secure every day. Now we're engaged. Never again am I settling for crumbs. Okay, so I can look at that. Thank you, Mia, for writing that in. Yeah, it can be a little intimidating, a little overwhelming when somebody's really obsessed with you. But if it's done in a very healthy, supportive way, I can see how you can eventually become comfortable with it. You become trusting and you feel very secure in the relationship. But I will also say, if they are obsessed with you up front and then they start tapering back, is that kind of like giving you a good morning text every morning and then you start to expect it? And then what happens when you no longer get that text? So if they taper back, are you now feeling less secure? Would you rather it just be more even from the beginning rather than so much obsession in the beginning? Okay, so also Nate from Phoenix also said, I think obsession is dangerous. My ex was obsessed in a jealous, controlling, suffocating way. I don't want obsession. I want consistent effort and trust. So, again, that is kind of like what I just said. If it is in a very controlling, jealous way, of course, you wouldn't want that kind of obsession. So it needs to be in a very healthy, supportive way that someone is having a little bit of an obsession over you, because that can be a sweet thing. It's like they really love you so much, and it may even just feel like an obsession, even though it may just be those feelings of love. Okay, so my take, I want someone who lights up when I walk in the room. I don't want it to be controlling. I don't want it to be clingy. I don't want it to feel like icky, but I want them to be enthusiastic. I want them to be excited to see me. And we deserve to be with someone who brags about us when we're not around. Is that considered obsession? I don't know. Give me your take on that, you guys. Give me a message on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts on that. Okay, I'm moving on to my third hot take. I'm just going to say it. Long distance isn't that hard if you're actually into them, right? So, okay, this one has got people talking. I did get a lot of little listener stories and advice on this one, but here's the thing. Long distance isn't as miserable as we make it out to be, right? If the connection is strong and the commitment is real, you can make it work. And I really think that that's important, and you need to keep it consistent. And if you're both making efforts, you're doing little wine dates on a FaceTime call, or you're making plans to see each other, I think it can actually work, but you have to be really into each other for that to happen. So Danny from Chicago said, I did a long distance situationship for 7 months. We talked daily, we FaceTimed, we made plans, but he never once booked a flight. I was exhausted. Looking back, I was into him way more than he was into me. Okay, thank you, Danny, for sending in that story. But here's the thing, and you said it right in your first sentence. I did a long distance situationship for 7 months. So if you're going to do a long distance, it cannot be considered a situationship. You have to know that you are all in on this, and you have to have that conversation, the discussion that you are going to make every effort to make this work. We are going to do our daily check-ins, or we're going to talk at least, once every other day. We're going to FaceTime. We're going to do our weekly date night, if not 2 or 3 times a week, where we do a FaceTime with a glass of wine, and we really invest in each other, right? And you have to make plans to see each other a few times a year. So if it's something that you can't do financially, it's not going to work. I really think it has to be with somebody that is in a place that can make it happen. So Logan from Denver also said, I met my now wife while she was in New York City and I was in Seattle. We saw each other monthly. We always had a countdown, and we made each other feel so chosen. Was it easy? No. But was it worth it? Absolutely. So my advice, long distance reveals compatibility more than it's going to ruin it, right? If they're inconsistent, they're flaky, or they're emotionally unavailable, then distance just exposes that so much quicker. So if both people are all in, you can totally make it work. All right, so here's a couple other little segments that I had for you guys. These are little lightning round hot takes that I just wanted to throw them out there. I would love to hear what you guys think. If any of those trigger you, you're not alone. I'm going to post some polls on this week, and I really want you guys to kind of chime in and tell me what you think. So here's my number one. Couples don't need to share everything. Privacy isn't secrecy. So what do you think about that? Should couples be sharing everything? Should you be sharing your passcode on your phone? Should you be sharing your bank account information? I don't know. What do you guys think on that? Another hot take that I can talk about later on a bigger subject, it says, if he says he doesn't believe in labels after 3 months, you should be running. So what are your thoughts there? Is 3 months a fair amount of time for you to DTR, define the relationship? Are you going to do that? Are you going to say, hey, it's been 3 months, we're only seeing each other, let's go ahead and make this official? Or after 3 months, you don't hear anything, are you like, nope, I'm out of here? I don't know. Okay. Next hot take. I want to hear what you guys think on this. This was a big kind of thing that came up from that show, Nobody Wants This. I've talked about before. The ick is real and it's irreversible. Okay, do you agree? Is it irreversible? Is this something that you can get past when you have the ick? I'm trying to think if I've actually had the ick to know that. There's been times where you're kind of like, oh, I don't like that. But it hasn't gotten so far to the point that I'm like, nope, done, out. So what do you guys think? Can you turn that around once that happens? My last one I have is you shouldn't live together before getting engaged. What do you guys think on that? What's your hot take on that? Do you think that's right? Should you live together? I'm kind of torn on that. Part of me is very old fashioned. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to live with you until I have a ring on my finger and you show me commitment. But on the other side, do I want to get that far without ever having lived with you to know if we are completely compatible? I don't know. All right. So if any of those did trigger you, I do want to hear from you guys. Please reach out to me. You can message me on Instagram at from.mrs.2.ms. I want to hear what you thought on that. And then also, I want to just go through a little story. This is a scenario that someone wrote into me about, and I just thought it was like really, really good. And I kind of want to share it with you guys because I just like to share different stories that I hear. Okay, so I am actually going to read out this story because I want to talk about it. And I think it was pretty good that someone sent me their scenario and kind of wanted my thoughts on it. So I thought, of course, I'll put it out to you guys and get your thoughts as well. Okay, so this is the story. So it says, I'm going to give you the extremely short version. There's a guy whose family owns a bunch of stores near me. I've known them, him included, for nearly 30 years. They're wonderful people. They're a very solid family. So when he asked me if I wanted to go out to dinner with him after he closed up the shop, I figured, sure, why not, right? Big mistake. Okay, so not only did he throw away my food, which honestly should be a crime on its own, but he also drove us up to this scenic overlook in Burbank. No service, no lights. The kind of place that would normally scream red flag if you met this guy on Tinder. Like, yeah, but that was a longtime friend, or so I thought. Okay, so fast forward, I'm trying to get out of his giant lifted truck that he has, his Ford F-150. He doesn't even help me, and I fall. I fall hard, and I end up breaking my foot. And just when I think this night can't get worse, it does. I wasn't actually assaulted, thank God, but he did something deeply disturbing. He proceeds to pull out his penis, slaps it against my leg, and then proceeds to jerk off over the side of the overlook, saying that if I wasn't going to do anything, he would do it himself. Okay, she said it's now 2 a.m., just got out of the ER, and yes, her foot is 100% broken. Okay. I'm a little speechless on this one. This is absolutely crazy. And this is somebody that she said she knew. And this is why we say to be very careful with who you're going out with. You don't truly know somebody until you've been going out with them for at least 6 months. Now, in this case, she thought she did, right? She's known him for years. She's known his family for years. So why not? So she decides to go out with him. She thinks it's going to be a nice date, and it turns into this complete chaos, right? Which is really kind of scary in the situation she was at. Not only did he take her to a place that she's unfamiliar with, that she didn't feel comfortable in, there was no heads up like, hey, we're going to go to this place. Are you okay to go there? He just takes her to this place with no lights and everything. She proceeds to fall out of his truck and break her foot, you guys. And then he turns around and basically just jerks off. I mean, if this isn't my dick slapped episode, I don't know what is. But I'm dying as I'm reading this because the audacity of a man to do that. And it is just so absolutely disgusting to me that he would even do that in the first place. Like, who are you to do that, kind of sexually assault me without actually assaulting me, but making me feel so uncomfortable because you need to get off. You don't give a shit about my foot, about the fact that we're in a place that I am not comfortable in. You didn't care about me. And what does that say about that man? Why is that okay for him to do that? What are the repercussions of that? Is that considered some kind of an assault? I mean, kind of. It's kind of got a streaker type vibe, a jerking off in the bathroom, Pee Wee Herman kind of thing. Like, where do you go from there with something like that? And now she has to be uncomfortable with him, with his family. She's now uncomfortable with future dates because you can't get that out of your head right away. So now are you kind of assuming everybody's kind of like that way? I don't know. It was just really, really messy, in my opinion, and it should never have gone down like that. I don't know how the story ended. I would love to hear from her to hear how that ended, or if you have had anything similar like this, I love to hear these stories and kind of share and get people's feedbacks and thoughts, because it's absolutely disgusting, to be honest. The fact that he did that is, I'm so grossed out by that. But I don't know, you guys. I would love to hear what you think. You can message me on Instagram at from.mrs.2.ms. You can email me anytime. I'd love to get these scenarios from you guys, and I'll put them out there. We can take polls. We can hear what other people think and just discuss, because sometimes you need to hear it from someone else to truly get the real result on it, right? So you can email me at Andrea at from.mrs.2.ms.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I just wanted to touch on a few hot takes. I can't wait to hear from you guys on what you think on my hot takes. If you have some hot takes on your own that you want to share with me, I would love to talk about them on air as well. So please reach out to me. Again, you have all my info. You can find the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.